This is Joshua 23 and verse 6. Be ye therefore courageous to keep and to do all that is written in the book of the law of Moses, that ye turn not aside therefrom to the right hand or to the left, that you come not among these nations, these that remain among you, neither make mention of the name of their gods, nor cause to swear by them, neither serve them, nor bow yourselves unto them, but cleave unto the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, your power, as ye have done unto this day. For the Lord Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, have driven out from before you great nations and strong. But as for you, no man have been able to stand before you unto this day. One man of you shall chase 1,000. For the Lord Yahweh your power, he it is that fighteth for you as he have promised you. Right? I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. The bonds of the apostles, the bonds of the elders, at Great Millstone, root well and touch is true. Much respect to you brothers out there, preach his word in truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of earth. Tabernacle David, hopeful elect, and the sparkle bird on 1-6 Shalom. Right? So I brought this out, right? Because you have this little meme going around, which brothers had did lessons on it. You know, how the simple is just so caught up in it, but they're not paying attention to what's going on. But the perspective that I'm coming in with, right? Y'all worried about a gorilla. What about the 144,000, right? What about the men of the Lord? Matter of fact, as we just read in Joshua 23, right, that one man shall be able to chase 1,000, right? And in these videos that I have watched about the gorilla, one gorilla versus 100 men, that apparently, with Esau Edom science, they're actually saying that 100 men can beat up a gorilla, because a gorilla is not it's not a bear, it's not a elephant, right? It has low stamina, right, compared to us, right? It has bursts of stamina, a burst of speed, I should say, bursts of speed and bursts of strength, but to go round for round, it's not tactical as a human, right? It's not to say that niggas, all right, these people, if you had a scenario to where 100 people will run up on a gorilla, it's not to say that they're not going to lose their lives, all right? There's going to be several men that's probably going to lose their lives, but, the animal, from the videos that I watch, the animal is eventually going to tire down because, they're really aura farming, right? They really, it's brief confrontations. Now, if the Spirit of the Lord is upon these animals, as you read in the scriptures, most definitely the Lord can do anything, right? Hey, you even read about the scriptures how the Lord had a donkey speaking, right? All right, so the Lord can do anything, right? You read about dogs tearing up people, right? Bears, lions tearing up people. So the Lord can do anything, man. At the end of the day, if the Lord wants that gorilla to beat up 100 people, he can, right? But anyways, once again, I'm getting back to the point. So what I'm bringing this out for, right? I'm bringing out some of the men of the Lord that had spiritual power. And it was a brother that posted up a video the other day, pray for the spiritual power, right? Because we're going to need it. And as we just read once again in Joshua 23, one man shall chase 1,000, right? And at the end of the day is Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua is the one that's fighting for you. But to get that spiritual power, right? As we just read, be very courageous, right? Make sure you're doing, what you're supposed to do according to the Spirit. Don't turn to the left side. Don't turn to the right. go through that straight and narrow path, and the Lord got your back, right? Let's get this in, because I also have a couple examples that I want to give from chat GPT, right? But first, I'm going to get this scripture as well. Isaiah 59, verse 18. According to their deeds, accordingly, he will repay fury to his adversaries, recompense to his enemies. To the islands, he will repay recompense. Right, here's the point. Verse 19. So shall they fear the name of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah from the west, and his glory from the rising sun. When the enemy shall come in like a flood, the spirit of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah shall lift up a standard against him. That's coming, man. Right? Y'all worried about the gorilla, Esau, Edom. Right? Rather Jake knows it or not, they are preparing to roll on your Israelites. Right now, a lot of the northern kingdom is getting jacked up. Matter of fact, one of my family members, they live right beside Issachar. And they said, hey, Issachar barely been out. Because in the past, especially nice days like this, they will be outside, right? They'll be outside enjoying it. But they're so spooked and they're so scared of being deported, they're not even outside, man. This ain't life, Jake, right? This ain't life, right? So Northern Kingdom gets it first and Judah gets it worse. So these are the times that we're coming into. So we're going to need their spiritual power, and they're going to come in like a flood to take you down. But that's all right, man. Right? That's all right. Hey, the Spirit of the Lord dealing with you, you good. I'm gonna get this right here in John 14:11. Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me. This our big boy, our big brother Yahushua speaking, man. Right? Believe me that I am in the Father, and the Father is in me, or else believe me for that very work's sake. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also, and greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. You see that? Right? So Yahushua, our big brother, right? Our big brother said, man, the things that I did, you're going to be able to do greater. Right? You're going to be able to do greater. The men of the Lord in the past, Yahweh which we'll get later on in this lesson, you're going to be able to do that and more, right? That's our big brother speaking, man. And whatsoever ye shall ask in my name, that I will do, that the Father may be glorified in the Son. If ye shall ask anything in my name, the importance of knowing the name of the Lord, right? Also cast out these demons with the name of the Lord, I will do it. If you love me, keep my commandments. So going back to it, didn't Joshua say, hey, be very courageous? You're supposed to keep what is written in the law of Moses, where the Lord said, if you love me, keep my commandments. And you keep the Lord's commandments, Yahweh Razah, you of the elect, pray for that spiritual power, pray for that protection, right? You're going to get it, right? And I want to get this right here. And then we'll get into the meat of the lesson that I wanted to get into. John 21 and verse 24. This is the disciple which testified of the things and wrote these things, and we know that his testimony is true, right? We understand that what's written in this Bible is true, man. It's not fairy tale, right? It's not. This is not fake, man. Right? Getting to it. And there are also many other things which Yahushua did, that which, if they should be written, every one, I suppose that even the world itself cannot contain the books that should be written. Amen. So our big brother Yahushua did so many works, did so many healing, so much spiritual power that just me speaking as man, it will take away from the whole message of the book, man. Right? Whole message, let's just put it like this. Our big brother Yahushua did so much, man. Our big brother Yahushua did so much. And we just read in John 14, right, that you're going to be able to do greater works than he, right? And so let's get into the meat of this lesson, right? Let's see. Let's see. Who demonstrated extraordinary physical strength specifically by tearing animals apart with their bare hands as a sign of divine empowerment? Based on the Bible, two prominent figures stand out for this specific act: Samson and David. All right, Samson and our big brother, our king, King David. Right. Below, I detail these stories focusing on the incidents of tearing animals with their bare hands. That's pretty much what I wrote. I meant to copy that. Instance of men of the Lord tearing up animals with their bare hands, right? And how much force, which we'll get into that, how much force, how much power does that take, right? Samson and David. Below, I detailed these stories focusing on the incidents of tearing animals with their bare hands and explain why they considered men of the Lord. If you met other figures, blah, blah, blah. All right, Samson, role of a judge of Israel known for his supernatural strength. Animal incident: Samson tore a lion apart with his bare hands. Also, was going to Timnah. A young lion roared at him, and the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon him so that he tore the lion apart with his bare hands, as he might have tore a young goat. All right? And as you read in Judges 14 and verse 5 through 6, right? Detailing that incident, he tore up a young lion, right? With his bare hands, right? Let's see. Let me get some more. We got David right here. David, role, shepherd, warrior, and future king of Israel. All right. David is going to be back on the throne, right? With our big brother Yahushua, the 144, the rest of the 12, right? Order is going to be established upon the kingdom. But as we read about our King David, right? Animal incident, right? David described defending his flock from predators. Ain't that's what the Lord gonna do for us, right? Ain't we the flock of the Lord, right? Ain't we his sheep, right? So the Lord gonna do the same. You can look at it in that aspect. When a lion or a bear came and carried off a sheep from the flock, I went after it, struck it, and rescued the sheep from its mouth, right? Because doesn't the scripture speak of, right, Esau, Edom, all right, Satan is going around as a lion, seeking who he may destroy, right? We're going to need that protection, right? So the sheep was in the lion's mouth. When I turned on me, I seized it by its hair and struck it and killed it, right? Talking about, man, as we get, man, you know, how much power, how much force you need to just strike an animal and kill it. Because if you look at the biology of an animal, right, of a bear, Salakia, of a bear and a lion, you see how much thick hair, Salakia, the thick fat, the hair too, right? Matter of fact, I was looking up the barbarian lion, right? They said that it is extinct for the most part, or they have them in captivity, right? And when you look at this lion, how big its mane is, right? And if you understand why lions have such a big mane, right? First and foremost, it's majestic, it's beautiful, right? It's rulership, all right? But it's also for protection from other animals and especially other lions, right? Because it covers up their weak and vulnerable spots like the neck, right? And so having all that hair comes in handy, right? And so you just punching this thing and this thing is dying, man. Or however, David ended up killing this animal, man. All right. Let's see. I seized it by the hair, struck it. Right. That's in 1 Samuel 17 and verse 34. While the text doesn't explicitly say he tore that lion apart, his ability to kill a lion with minimal tools as a young shepherd suggests extraordinary strength. You see that? Suggests extraordinary strength. And once again, our big brother Yahushua said we're going to be able to do these things and greater. Right? When the enemy comes in like a flood, we're going to tear him apart with our bare hands. If you don't have a weapon in that day, you're going to tear him apart with your bare hands. Right? Check it. Right? The superheroes, man. Omni-Man. Superman. Right? The Sentry. And more. Right? Dragon Ball Z. Whatever, man. You're going to be like them and more. Right? That's going to be real life. You're going to have all the powers and more. Right? His ability to kill a lion with minimal tools as a young shepherd suggests extraordinary strength, possibly involving tearing or breaking the animal during the struggle, right? Let's see. Divine empowerment. Why these acts matter. Divine empowerment. Both Samson and David's ability to kill lions was attributed to Yahweh Shem Shah's power and not mere human strength, right? Once again, we're going to get it. How much strength, how much pound-feet of force that is required to tear a lion apart, right? And so at the end of the day, this is why we give all praises going on to Yahweh Shem Shah. Because at the end of the day, it's not us. It's the Lord giving us this power, man. Now, granted, in the ancient world, we were a lot stronger, taller, right? But, it still required a lot of force to kill these animals, man. Because, you read about the stories, read about the events, Salakia. They're not just stories, they're events that actually happen, right? People died from these animals, man, right? But anyways, getting back to it. So we giving all praises going on to Yahweh Shem Shah. He's the one that's giving us that power, but he's using us, right, to show his power, right? It was attributed to God's power, not mere human strength. For Samson, the Spirit of the Lord especially enabled the act, right? Judges 14 and verse 6. For David, his faith in God's protection was foundational, right? It was foundational. This is why you must trust in the Lord. This is why you must pray without ceasing, right? Do what you're supposed to be doing. All right, pray for that spiritual power. Pray for that protection, right? Lions, all right, symbolism. Lions were among the most fearsome animals in ancient Israel, symbolizing danger and power. Overcoming them demonstrated God's supremacy and men's role as his instruments, right? Men of the Lord, both men chosen by God, right, for specific purposes, right? These scriptures was given to us for our learning, right? That we see that the men of the Lord were that believed in the Lord wasn't confounded. Us too in the days to come that we're not going to be confounded, right? Let's see. Samson to judge. Slacky, where was I? Slacky, where? Damn it. Overcoming demonstrated God's supremacy and men's role as an instrument. Both men were chosen by God for a specifically purpose. Samson to judge and to deliver Israel, right? David to lead and establish a godly kingdom. Their physical feats reflected their spiritual calling. And once again, Yahweh Dazah, we of those men, our stories is going to be known. Matter of fact, the men of the Lord in the past, they're back here today and they rose, right? Let me see. I want to get, how strong would you have to be to tear a lion apart? with your bare hands, right? And I wrote down that note, the Barbarian lion, once again, one of the largest lions that has existed, if I'm not mistaken. It's like 550 pounds or 600 pounds, right? A huge lion. Go look up that lion, man. Huge and beautiful, right? To tear a lion apart with your bare hands, as described in the biblical account of Samson, right? Once again, Judges 14:5-6, will require an extraordinary levels of physical strength far beyond normal human compatibility, likely enhanced by divine or supernatural empowerment. And we're going to have that strength forever, man. I did a lesson a couple months ago about, what was it? Everlasting or, never ending hysterical strength, right? Look up hysterical strength. In times and events of trouble, right? There's been people around the world, they're being able to lift up cars or lift up things that normal people is not able to do. But in that moment of time, their brain activates and they're able to lift up these things to, for example, save their child or whatever happens, right? So we're going to have that unlimited, unlimited amount of power at all times, right? That's going to be in the kingdom, right? When the Lord gives us those new bodies. Let's see, Slacky, I keep on losing my place. Let's see, below I will break down the physical requirements, compare them to human and animal benchmarks, and contextualize the feat to estimate the power needed. Since the act is described in a religious text, I will also address the role of divine intervention as the Bible's attributes Samson's ability to the Spirit of the Lord, right? What it means to tear a lion apart. Text: Samson tore a lion apart with his bare hands as he might have torn a young goat. Once again, Judges 14:6. This suggests ripping the lion's body into pieces, likely pulling its limbs and jaws apart with ease compared to tearing a small animal. The lion was a young lion, but still formidable predator. Yeah, because still, whether it's a young lion or old lion, right? Hey, especially these Babylonians today, it get a hold of you, you done, right? But as we read, he tore it apart, the limbs, the jaw. Talking about strength, man. All right, a lion's physiology, all right, size and weight. A young African lion, around 2 to 3 years old, weighs approximately 265 through 420 pounds, with strong bones and dense